Hello, I welcome you to my channel. I have something I want to share with you very quick. It is about making America healthy again. The five solutions to the health crisis, particularly my take on this new development with Robert F. Kennedy, his five health policy stance to make America healthy again. As the new Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services, his ideas would radically change the US healthcare system. Its five health policies include number one, the food and nutrition, number two, ending the chronic disease epidemic, number three, FDA policies, alternative and health treatment, number four, vaccination policies, and lastly, fluoridation of drinking water. And of course, Robert F. Kennedy is receiving a lot of pushback for his ideas on health and reform from the lay media, the big food industry, and big pharma. He will be actively working against big food companies, big chemical companies, and big pharma. So naturally, he's getting a lot of pushbacks. And so I'm going to share some of the changes I think would address the current healthcare crisis and improve Americans' health and beyond. What is pretty interesting is that the US spends over $4.1 trillion each year on healthcare, and yet it is at the bottom as far as health is concerned. So here's what I think can improve the healthcare crisis, looking at RFK's five policies. The first is to change the institutional foods. It is very sad to know that the meals given to our kids at schools, those at the nursing or home care, the hospitals, the prisons, and other public institutions are all junk, full of refined and processed foods. And no wonder child obesity and juvenile diabetes is on the rise, and this chronic disease epidemic is never ending. The health of the people in these institutions would quickly improve by just simply removing all the refined sugars, starches, and the toxic oils from their diet. The second thing I think should be done is changing the JRAS, that is generally recognized as safe, as a term used by the FDA for products that have been safe tested by their own manufacturers. So, how do we expect those selling their own product to be honest with us, with our research, when they want to make millions out of the citizens? That is ridiculous. Because these GRAS, like the mercury, the lead, the fluoride in many of our foods and water, are accumulative and cause a lot of damage to our bodies over a long period of exposure. So this GRAS thing is a deception and needs to be reviewed again. So to avoid conflict of interest, I think one of the things we can do is to let tests or researches be done or conducted by third-party independent companies. The third thing is to end the sun phobia. The sun is a great source of vitamin D, but unfortunately, there is this phobia of the sun because of supposedly skin cancer risks from too much exposure to the sun. Thus, many people do not spend enough time outside anymore. And yet, when you go to places like Africa or the Middle East, people over there are almost always exposed to the sun, and yet there is little or no skin cancer cases. Now, the last thing I want to know is that this sun phobia in the US, paired with the recommended daily requirement of vitamin D, is contributing to massive vitamin D deficiency in the population, putting people at risk for so many diseases. So let's spend a lot of time in the sun and outside. It is actually good for us. The fourth thing I think it should be done to solve this health crisis is changing the rounding table. That is, if a product, for example, contains less than zero point 0.5 grams of an ingredient, it can be rounded off or rounded down to zero. And yet, there's a significant difference between 0 and zero point 0.5. One preferred example is the term zero trans fat. So once you find a product and it reads zero trans fat, immediately your mind thinks like, okay, there's no trans fat in that product, but zero trans fat actually means zero point 0.5 grams of that trans fat per serving in that product. And so this is misleading and should be eliminated. People need to be aware of what is really in their food. Whatever the weight of the ingredient is, we need to know because it matters a lot. And so companies also need to be forced to raise the quality of their ingredients in their products. And lastly, I think addressing the subsidized foods is very important. Subsidized foods are paid for by taxpayers. And like the corn, the soy, the wheat, the sugar, and the rice are most highly subsidized foods. So by changing the types of foods that are subsidized and investing in small farmers, we can significantly improve this problem. All right, so I thought of sharing these 5 ideas on RFK's junior new policy for our health. What do you think? Let's share our ideas in a comment below. Thanks for watching and God bless us all.